It was past midnight when Jake pulled into the parking lot behind O'Malley's bar, the kind of place where broken hearts and bad decisions met under flickering neon lights. He wasn't supposed to be there. He was just a single dad finishing his shift at a construction site, exhausted, covered in dust, ready to head home to his sleeping daughter. But fate had other plans. He saw her, his boss, Emily Harper, stumbling near the alley, clearly drunk, surrounded by two guys who looked like trouble. Their laughter wasn't friendly, it was the kind that sent chills down your spine. Jake froze for half a second. He could have just walked away, pretended not to see. But something deep inside him, the same instinct that made him protect his little girl, made him act. Before the men could do anything stupid, Jake stepped forward. "Hey! Leave her alone," he said, voice steady but firm. They turned toward him, sneering. One of them muttered, "Mind your business, man." Jake clenched his fists. He wasn't looking for a fight, but he wasn't backing down either. The situation got tense, but maybe it was the look in Jake's eyes, the look of a man who's fought real battles in life, that made them step back. They cursed and walked away, muttering insults under their breath. Jake exhaled slowly, his heart pounding. He gently helped Emily, who was barely standing, into her car. "Hey, you okay?" he asked softly. She mumbled something about a rough day and losing a deal, tears mixed with mascara streaks. Jake sighed, realizing she wasn't in any shape to drive. So, he made a choice that most people wouldn't. He took her car keys, called a cab, and drove her home himself. She was quiet the whole ride, staring out the window, lost in her thoughts. When they reached her place, Jake helped her to the door, left her safely inside, and quietly walked away into the night. He didn't want credit. He didn't want her to even remember. He just wanted her to be safe. Before we go further, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments. This is Sprinkle Kindness, a channel where every story reminds us that one act of kindness can change a life. The next morning, Jake woke up early. His daughter, Lily, was already up, brushing her doll's hair at the kitchen table. "Morning, Daddy," she chirped. Jake smiled, poured himself some coffee, and tried to shake off the long night. His phone buzzed. It was a message from an unknown number. It read, "Jake, it's Emily. I remember everything. Can we talk?" Jake froze. He hadn't expected that. He thought she'd wake up, forget the night, and move on. Still, he texted back, "Sure, Ms. Harper." A few hours later, Emily showed up at the construction site. Her usual confident walk was replaced by something softer, more human. Her eyes met Jake's, and she took a deep breath. "Jake, thank you for last night," she said quietly. "I didn't deserve your help." "You could have just ignored me," Jake shrugged, embarrassed. "You were in trouble." "I just did what anyone would have done," she smiled sadly. "Not anyone would have done that." Then she handed him an envelope. Inside was a check enough to cover several months of rent. Jake immediately shook his head. "I can't take this." "I didn't help you for money," Emily nodded, eyes glistening. "I know. That's why I insist. You reminded me what decency looks like. I've been so focused on business, money, and power that I forgot what kindness feels like." Over the next few weeks, something changed between them. Emily started visiting the site more often, not as a boss checking work, but as a friend. She'd bring coffee for the team, sometimes lunch, and every time she and Jake talked, she seemed a little more grounded, more real. One day, she noticed Jake's old pickup truck barely starting. "You still driving that thing?" she teased. Jake laughed. "Yeah, it's hanging in there, kind of like me." A few days later, he came out of work and found a used but solid truck parked beside his. A note was taped to the windshield, "For a man who deserves more than he asks for." Jake was stunned. He didn't want charity, but when he called Emily to protest, she said, "It's not charity. It's gratitude." Time passed, and what started as a simple act of kindness began to ripple. Emily sponsored a small community project Jake had dreamed of, a park renovation near his daughter's school. Together, they worked weekends planting trees, repainting benches, and fixing the playground equipment. The town noticed. People volunteered. It became a symbol of hope and unity. One evening, while they stood side by side watching kids play, Emily said softly, "You know, Jake, that night you helped me, it changed more than you realize." I was heading down a dark road. You didn't just save me from those men, you saved me from myself, Jake smiled gently. Sometimes all someone needs is for one person to care enough to step in. She looked at him, eyes full of gratitude. You showed me that kindness isn't weakness, it's strength. Months later, Emily launched a new initiative through her company, funding housing for single parents and offering second chances to those struggling to get back on their feet. She named it the Lily Foundation, after Jake's daughter. When he asked her why, she said, "Because Lily represents the reason you acted with kindness. She's your heart, and now she'll be part of helping others find hope." Jake couldn't hold back tears. He never imagined one night of doing the right thing would lead to all this. Years went by. The park flourished. Families gathered there on weekends. The foundation grew, helping hundreds. And every time someone asked Emily where it all started, she'd smile and say, "It began with one man who refused to walk away." Kindness doesn't always come wrapped in grand gestures. Sometimes, it's just a tired father stopping to help when no one else will. It's a reminder that we all have the power to change someone's life without expecting anything in return. Narrator. So if you're watching this right now, remember, kindness is contagious. You never know how far one good deed can travel or how many lives it can touch. Be the reason someone still believes in goodness today. This is Sprinkle Kindness. If this story touched your heart, hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs a little hope tonight. Because sometimes, all it takes is one moment of compassion to rewrite someone's entire story.